Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode from Steve Adventure Academy. We might title this video something like How to a Machete. So we're out here in the wilds of Albert County to try and do a quick video. This is not going to be exhaustive. It might be exhausting, depending on who you are and how much of my jibber jabber you can stand. But we really wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about the use of machetes as a tool and how to just be a little bit safe with them, maybe some tips, tricks, that sort of thing. And so you're probably going to see me move around a little bit. I may even have to adjust the camera angle, but we'll get right into it. So the first thing to select is a machete. Now there are a variety of opportunities. This one is, as you can see, a little bit Mall Ninja, made by Cold Steel, 1055 mid-carbon blade, two-handed handle, which we'll circle back to here in a minute. The lanyard's just goofy. But you're going to pick a machete that has about the right length of blade for what you're doing. So in the eastern Canadian woodlands, I would suggest a blade of about this length, which is between, say, 18 and 22 inches. What I like about that is it fits well in a backpack. So you can see that with the handle protruding, you can easily guess that the blade is not longer than my torso. So it backpacks easily. You're not carrying so much steel that it's competing with camp axes or crappy tomahawks. But you're still going to have enough blade length to generate the blade speed, because tip speed is really a lot of where your power comes from. There are going to be a variety of shapes of machetes. Having tested every shape of machete that is available, I will tell you without hesitation that the bolo is really the best shape, at least for the eastern Canadian wilderness. It's going to be a little heavier because of the extra meat, the wide round tip, but it's going to chop almost as well as a hatchet. Really, it may chop better than a hatchet because of its narrow profile. It's got more tip speed and or more mass than other styles of machetes. Why do I not carry a bolo? I don't like looking at them. The scabbards are goofy, and frankly, it just didn't put a smile on my face every time I take it out. And you know my theories, if you watch any of my videos, is that if it's not putting a smile on your face every time you take it out of the scabbard, I feel a little bad for you. Because I really think that you traded your life for money, then you traded your money for stuff. That stuff should put a smile on your face. Anyway, a little Zen moment perhaps. So pick a machete that's got enough length that the tip speed is going to generate the kind of power you need, that's not too heavy for what you're going to be doing with it. So multi-day trips, this is not too heavy. Other styles, other things to consider about machetes. Handles. The handle should be comfortable. This handle is not internationally renowned for being comfortable, but with some small modifications, grinding off some of the polycarbonate to make it fit better in your hand with the twisting action that's inevitably going to happen. When you strike something, your hand is going to still be moving, and let's face it, it's a meat interface, so you want to protect that. So we've taken steps to make sure that this handle is more comfortable, and it still has that cool look that I just had to have. Something else to consider with a handle is if you're going to swing this all day, it's a one-handed tool, generally speaking. So a one-handed tool has a one-handed handle. Good luck with that. You're going to have the Popeye arm. So I've selected a machete with two-hand capability. This one's just barely two hands. You're probably going to get this many on, or you might be able to cheat up if you're wearing gloves, which I would absolutely recommend, especially here in a moment. You can get two hands on it. That second hand is going to guide your strokes. It's also going to add that additional power. And frankly, after about 30 minutes of swinging whatever machete you pick, I'm going to bet you go, oh, I wish I had a two-handed handle. Cold Steel makes a couple of machetes with handles that are large enough for two hands, so check them out at their website. So two-handed handle, long enough to do the job, heavy enough to be portable, but still deliver the power. So why a machete? Well, there's a variety of good reasons for that, not the least of which being that you can collect wood very easily. Now, I've brought this with me, so I'm not just chopping around out here in the bush. But something of this size, which is easily, as you can see, as thick as my thumb, so an inch through and through, should be fairly easy to dispatch if you hit it with the machete. So that's simple enough. Not difficult to see that you could clear brush very easily. If it's dry, you can expect the same results as long as you come down at about this type of angle. If you're using your machete on this angle, you're not getting anywhere. And if you're using something made by Gerber, which I've tested every model they make with their thin edge grinds, you'll see that I've modified my edge grind, but it's not crazy thin. A strike like this will penetrate about half to 2/3 of the way. The tree will willow away or bend, pinching the blade. And now the tree has a directed path because it's anchored to the ground, so it's going to go downwards, while your blade is still traveling on a level path, which is going to kink your blade. Feel free to try it out. The Gerber Gator in the full size would be my first choice because it has lots and lots of tip speed, great length, and when you chop on a sideways on this type of stuff, or particularly in the winter, it's going to pinch, willow away, and kink your blade, probably every single time. A little tip with the Gerbers, even if you get the expensive parang or bolo that they make with the more expensive steel, it'll be $70 to $80 instead of $25 or $30. You're going to still have the same issues because of the edge grind. So reduce the edge grind by half. Have a professional or someone that's willing to get into it. Reduce the edge grind by half, put the edge back on it, and it should last forever. Other things that I like about a machete are its ability to limb. So you can very easily knock these off. So just a few seconds you can get rid of the green. Why is that important? Well, if you're looking at evergreens, like this guy behind me, probably not this one, but of evergreens for shelter creation, you can use the poles, so you can cut them down green. Use the pole by skimming off very quickly all of that thick green lush stuff that you want as your bed into the space where your shelter is being created, so you're knocking it off where it goes. I've seen a variety of opportunities, and most people, what they'll do is they'll limb the tree while it's standing and then cut it down so it's easier to get to. But then you've got to scoop up all those boughs in your arms. If it's raining or if it's the least bit moist, you're scooping them up into your face. You're getting all that crazy. You're trudging through the bush with all this, dragging all this stuff to get back to your shelter and plopping it where it goes. If you knock the tree down first, because you're going to take everything off it, or most everything, we'll circle back to that. If you're going to take everything, because you're going to use the pole, cut the tree down where it is, drag it to your shelter, limit where you want the branches to fall, and then use the pole. Evergreens, however, you should probably, if you're not going to use the pole specifically, if you don't need it, leave it standing and leave the top 1.5 to 2 feet of green. It'll keep right on growing. You can have everything on the bottom. That's a little more work, but again, you're going to just take your machete, you're going to strike into the green next to the trunk, tick, 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 move around to the sides, take everything, scoop it all up, and then trudge back to your shelter. But if you're going to use the pole, take the whole tree with you. So 2 hands, decent length, blade shape that you like, steel that's going to stand up, and an edge grind that's going to work. Other things to consider is, an expert that's not me told me one time that it takes about the same amount of effort to bite a finger off as it does to bite a carrot in half. I know, right? How do they know this? I don't know. Is it even true? I can't tell you. But some of the things you want to consider with this guy is that if I could bite a carrot in half, how much easier is it going to be to chop a finger off? Let's see, we'll find a spot here that's about the same size as my finger. So right there. Would you say that's about right? So this machete is very easily going to all but separate my finger from my hand. So let's be careful where we put them. Things you can do about that. Hold the paw very high, so very high, and work down here. Clunk, clunk, clunk. I had it sitting on the ground, but you can still knock these off very easily. So watch where your path is. Something else to consider if you're working with more than one person. When I swing the machete over my head, where's the tip going? Well, if he's working behind me or has stepped up behind me and I didn't see him, he's going to get a nasty clonk on the melon with the backside of that blade, which you can see, if it'll take the bark off a tree, it'll definitely take the jelly filling outside of your donut. Pay attention. Other things to consider: the blade is likely to skip, so it could come in, strike, and then skip away. So anytime you can, work with your work on one side of you, probably on the blade side, and slice down the outside that's away from you. This way, if the blade skips, it's going to go away from you and not come through and take a chunk out of you. So as you can see, there are a variety of opportunities when it comes to selecting a machete, and there are definitely some safety tips that you should use. So stand on one side of your work down the other side. Pay attention to where your fingers are and think about what the blade path is, the desired blade path. Then think about what the potential undesirable blade path might be. And make sure that your good bits, particularly your legs, most people chop themselves in the leg, not in the hand, but you can easily sever a finger or several fingers, and those are going to be really hard to stitch back on with what you're going to have in your pockets. You know, a Bic lighter and some duct tape. That may not work. I guess the third thing that I would say really is, once you've selected the right machete and then you're using it carefully, is just continue to use it carefully. You're going to discover that things are going to happen that you're going to learn from. So think twice, strike once, then strike again, but with a gap in between so you can have a moment to analyze what's working, what's not working, and make those adjustments. I'm sure you'll do fine. So, with all of that jibber jabber, straight to the interwebs, this is Steve Adventure Academy. I'm Chris. I'm super pleased that you all have chosen to join us. I hope that you'll stay sharp and enjoy your time away. Thanks for watching.